Everybody, and welcome to the episode 5 of the Clarity Code. I hope you're enjoying these episodes. The only way I will know that you are learning something out of it is through engagement. So, even before I get started this time, just make sure that you like, you subscribe, you leave your comments below to let us know how are these episodes impacting you so that we know that we can go deeper, we can go wider, and that's like the request. And with that, welcome to episode 5 once again. So in the last episode, in episode 4, we spoke about how emotional conditioning becomes the quiet, birthplace for resistance. We're going to take that a little deeper in this particular episode, where we are going to go into the living room of your adult life. And we are going to be looking at those early emotion codes that quietly directed your relationship or still directs your relationship, your choices, the word that you say to yourself, the mirror, and even those silences, even those quiet times that you keep to yourself.
Hi, everyone. So, resuming what you have been saying, because these codes don't stay locked in the childhood, right? They migrate and they become the invisible operating system that decides who you let close, what you dare to want, hmm? How loudly you speak your needs, and what you secretly believe you deserve. They run in the background faster than thought, deeper than logic.
Absolutely. And this episode for is for those of you guys who, after a date or after a conversation and a thought, you've had a thought like, why does this feel so familiar? If the emotional weather keeps rolling in, even though the people change, even though situations change, what I mean by emotional weather is you feel the distance, you feel the chasing, you feel the criticism, you feel walking on eggshells. If these are familiar, then this episode is for you.
It's for you if you notice yourself shrinking in meetings, over explaining simple truths, apologizing for existing, or saying it's fine. When every cell in your body is screaming, this is not fine.
Absolutely.
So, and also it is for you if you stay too long, leave too soon, or sabotage something beautiful just as if it starts feeling safe, right? So if the voice in your head still sounds like you are your mother's disappointment, your father's silence, or that teacher who said you weren't trying hard enough, please pay attention.
Yeah. And if any of this lands like a quiet recognition in your chest, then today is not about shaming that pattern. Please be aware of this, okay? Why we are doing this is to be able to finally see the code so that you can stop running it unconsciously. And before we dive in any deeper into this episode, if you want to get into a proper immersion to understand these codes, to meet them, to understand them with kindness and precision, and all of those things, then be part of the clarity code because it's a 3 hour immersion. It is going to happen in January. We have a batch running every month. So I will leave the descriptions in the sorry, I'll leave the details in the description, and you can look up and register for it. Please know that any of the patterns that you have identified in your life are not random. These are emotional codes in repetition.
Absolutely. The moment you truly see that particular code, the loop loses its power.
Awesome. Now, with that, let's begin. Let me tell you what is an emotional code, okay? Emotional code is not a belief that you have chosen. It is a feeling that you have survived. And then your nervous system has turned that feeling into a blueprint. So it becomes your emotional normal, even when that normal feels uncomfortable, even when that normal hurts. Now, for example, imagine a child who's growing up with a parent who is warm one day and cold the next day. Now, for a child, in this situation, they learn that without words, okay, the love equals to unpredictability. Everything becomes unpredictable when this child is living with this parent who is cold and hot. The child doesn't know how to be and ends up walking on eggshells. Now as this child becomes an adult, there is this let's say this child becomes an adult and they have this person who is always hot, never cold. Now that kind of becomes boring for them, and that even can become suspicious, because chaos that they felt in their childhood feels like home, and the body relaxes into drama because drama once met I'm still loved.
Another common one, Priya.
Mm,
If you were the child, you had to keep everyone calm around you. You absorbed that code, my needs threaten connection.
yeah.
So now, decades later, you anticipate other people's discomfort before they even feel it. You apologize for fears, you over explain boundaries. And this is like, I want to highlight this one, and swallow your truth to keep the peace.
Yeah.
That is why the code runs so fast, you don't even notice the moment you abandon yourself, right? So these are not at all conscious decisions.
Mm,
They are your emotional identity, wherein your system is saying, this feeling is who I am, long before you consciously catch up to it.
yeah. Yeah. Now if you bring this entire thing into the relationship aspects, okay, where are these codes most visible in? They are in relationships. We all know that relationships are our biggest teachers, okay, and the people that we choose are rarely random. They are mirrors turned into the exact frequencies of our unresolved emotional codes. So when you watch a movie and when you see these two characters coming close, the main, the hero and the heroine coming close, you will see or notice that there is all these butterflies and anxiety, and oh, will this person like me, or is this person the one that I want to be with? What are all these? In the rosy words they call it butterflies, feeling butterflies and all of that in your gut. But this is actually your gut telling, bro, this is familiar, you have gone through this is not for you, this is not love, this is trauma. So you getting what I'm saying? So and the saddest part is when we go through situations where Alicia mentioned earlier, we abandon ourselves. We can see everybody else abandoning us, but we don't catch the fact that we abandon ourselves before anybody else does. So, if abandonment was an early wound of yours, you might find yourself drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable. Not because you hate yourself, people, because the distance triggers the familiar ache that you learned to survive. Now, pursuing them. So, when somebody is avoidant, what are you going to do? You're going to pursue them. You're going to fight for their love. You're going to do everything that you can possibly do. So, in your head, you're like, I'm going towards what I want. But in fact, that is what you have been doing always, even when you were hurt. And when someone truly shows up for you, who's available for you, who listens to you, who treats you like a prince or a princess, your body might register that safety as a threat. And you will pick up the fights because you're uneasy with that closeness, you're uneasy with that openness, you're uneasy with that cushion, with that love, with that blanket that you are getting. So you pick up fights, you create distances, you simply feel numb because steady presence does not match the code that is already registered in you, the blueprint that you have created through traumas.
Amazing. I feel like many of our viewers, they are going to correlate with this example a lot. This
Yeah,
is uh, like a common theme of what everyone has experienced.
yeah, yeah.
Let's take hyper independence.
Mm.
So, if early care felt unreliable, you learned I can only count on me. So, when a partner wants to support you, I mean, really support you, your system panics
Mm.
and vulnerability feels like falling. You push them away and convince that they will eventually leave anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, better to end on your own terms than be abandoned again. So it's a common theme in the relationships. And another one, Priya, I want to
Mm.
add on
Can I
over
just
here.
add, can I add just something to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other point?
please,
So,
please.
the reason why you're pushing them away when they are really there to support you is because you have never received that kind of support. You have never seen anybody in your close circle. When I say your close circle, as growing up, your parents, your siblings, nobody supporting each other that way. So you feel that support that you're receiving now, however good you feel with that support, you feel that it is not going to be there permanently. So that it's not that you don't need the support. Of course, you love the support. Your thought will be, am I gonna get so used to this support that when I don't have it, I'll be more broken than what I am right now. So just
And the nervous system also get entrained with the previous chaos that they
yeah,
have
yeah,
been
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah,
And so the new healthy environment is very uneasy and
yeah,
new.
yeah.
And uh, we have to be a little bit patient with ourselves when we are repatterning all these emotional codes. And this is what we are going to explore in our live The Clarity Code,
Hmm.
which is a 3-hour immersion. You can find the link in the description. So let's explore another code that is unworthiness, perhaps the most painful, I would say.
Hmm.
You tolerate inconsistency. So there is a lot of silence in this one. Okay. Uh, Crumbs or outright disrespect because deep down your body believes this is the best I'm allowed, right? So when someone offers more, you question their motives. You wait for the other person to drop their shoe. Okay. Because full reciprocity would rewrite the code. And rewriting feels terrifying to the nervous system. Hence, you end up panicking, creating conflicts, chaotic environment. So you see, that is the base of the emotional code and how it can control your being, your decisions, how you move in your life.
There's more to it. Okay, so
Yeah.
I want to I want to take you all through another aspect of how you feel that these codes are the choices that you're making, and then these choices are very logical. Okay, for example, let's say in your childhood you got an opportunity to speak up or show up, all right, and when you spoke up and showed up, you were ridiculed and you were dismissed completely. And if it happens multiple times, if it happens once, it's fine. You're going to go at it because you're at that age wherein you're not going to be, your light is not going to be dimmed by somebody saying, hey, don't do it. You're going to do it again and again and again. And every time that you are ridiculed and dismissed, there will be a time wherein you're like, I don't want to be seen anymore because every time I put myself out there, I'm being dismissed, I'm being ridiculed, I'm being insulted. So this becomes a new code. So being seen becomes dangerous for you. So how does this impact your adult life? So now let's say you want to launch a project, okay? This the let's say not just a project, it can be anything. Okay, let's say you want to launch a project, you want to say something to somebody, you want the perfect condition to arrive in order for you to do these things. But the sad part is that the perfect condition never arrives. Every time you hide the code which says that being seen is dangerous, being seen is not the right thing, this code gets reinforced over and over again. And there is this little voice in your head that says, see, keeping small has what has kept me safe. So I'm just going to continue doing that.
Right. And also, Priya, there are scarcity codes. They are another quiet theme.
Mm,
If resources or love felt limited growing up, okay, you'll choose the safe job, the
mm,
safe relationship,
mm.
the safe life, even when abundance is right in front of you. You'll turn down opportunities because your body whispers, don't risk what little you have. So logic says take the leap, but the code says, stay where you know how to survive. So
Yeah.
you see how self-doubt codes keep you in perpetual seeking. Every decision needs external validation because early message was you can't trust your unknown, and this feeling actually shakes the foundation of your being, this code. And you ask 10 people for advice, over research, second guess, over prepare for everything, anything to avoid the terror of being wrong, which once felt like being unlovable.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
and all these things leads you to your inner dialogues that you have. So if you just pause for a second and think about what are the things that I tell myself, okay,
Mm,
because your inner dialogues are the most intimate place where all these blueprints live.
yeah.
When I say blueprints, all these codes live, okay. So your self talk isn't a neutral commentary. It is the echo of the emotional environment you grew up in. For example, if you have been criticized a lot as a child, okay, then if that has been the loudest voice in your house, not just towards you, to anybody in your house, okay, so your inner narrator will be very critical. It sounds everything sounds like a criticism, like you should have done better, even if you did, naturally you did the best of what you could do. That voice that tells you, that little voice, is not motivation. It is an old survival strategy. If I criticize myself first, so let's say I think of doing some project, and now I'm going through all these analysis paralysis, overthinking, and anxiety about doing it, and also this fear of failure as to what will happen if I'm not going to make it, what if it's just going to be a big flop. And let's say you any which ways do it, let's say you bear yourself and you do it, okay, and you don't see the kind of result that you're expecting, the critical voice within you will say, I told you it's not going to work, right? And let's say you don't do it. Then there is this critical voice within you that says, let me criticize myself first so that nobody else can hurt me.
Yeah.
And this is where we all of us have at least 20 to 28 to up to 32 different parts within us. A part that says, let's do it, a part that says, let's not do it. You remember the quote that Alicia spoke to you sometime back, wherein there is this voice that says, let's take the leap. And then there is that voice that says, no, no, stay where you are, stay where you know how to survive. These are the two different voices, these are the two different parts, and there are multiple parts like this. Now when there are parts within you that is conflicting with each other, and think of 38 different parts conflicting with each other at the same time, think about the kind of war that is waging within you. Forget about what's happening outside, forget about the people who's criticizing you from outside, forget about the people who's abandoning you from outside. Think of what you are doing to yourself. This this is what that needs to get resolved. The whole agenda of us doing clarity code is just to help you understand all these different elements. Over
So,
to you, Alicia.
yeah, know that if emotional neglect was the norm, then your self-talk minimizes. It's not that bad. No one wants to hear this. Don't be so sensitive. You learned that your feelings are an inconvenience. Just imagine the feeling. How would that feel? So now you inconvenience yourself first. Okay. So it um, directly implies to if the chaos at your home is at your home, your inner voice is impatient, it will be urgent, it will be harsh, it will be like, hurry up, you're falling behind. Why can't you just get it together? So
Yeah.
it's trying to create order for you, for your body that still expects the flow to drop out at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we've given you a lot of information, okay? So I want all of us to just take a gentle pause, because I'm going to take you through a very, very, very small practice, okay? Um, so probably get into a place where you can just close your eyes for a second and take a nice deep breath in, and Recollect a moment which might have happened very recently within the last week or so, wherein you felt very contracted. You might have felt very anxious or guilty or felt very small or angry or even frozen for that matter. Now that you have recollected this, just take a moment to see where it lives in your body. Is it in your gut? Is it in your heart? Do you feel it in your shoulders? Do you feel it in your neck? How would you feel it? It could be a little stress. It could be like you want to stretch a little. You feel like there is a muscle spasm. You feel tension. And if you can slowly touch that part of your body, you might even feel a little heat there. It often comes with an image. Now, when you're recollecting that, it's usually somebody else who was involved in this conversation. It could be a body memory, like somebody pushing you, or you clenching your fist, or you clenching your jaws, right? Now think about, ask yourself these questions. When did I first learn to feel this way? What was the first time that you felt this way? How old were you? What was the scenario? Who else was present with you there? How old were you? And at that point in time, what or how did it help you survive that point in time? Now, this will come to you in the form of a memory or a sensation that arises within you. Don't force for it to arise, just let it happen. You'll feel things in your body even more now, okay? You might feel a body memory, you might feel a sudden knowing, you might see an image. Now, slowly come back to this present moment, open your eyes. If you want to make a note of it, do pause the video, make a note of it. Because this is your root code. Seeing it clearly is already the beginning of you doing the work. Please be aware that these are trauma aware sessions, okay? We want to keep these sessions as being very, very, very aware of trauma, because Alicia and I are not sitting over here and yapping away to glory because we have not lived it. We have lived through it, and for most of our lives. The work that we do today is a result of having lived through it, having understood it, having, you know, integrated it within our system, having embodied it, and that is the reason why we're able to talk about it. There is no point of us having this conversation after we have had degrees in this, because if you have really not experienced it, then there is no, we don't have any right to come and sit here and talk about it if we haven't experienced it. So we won't be able to take you through the whole way of helping you resolve this, because this is so much more deeper than a 30-minute session, guys. That is the reason we invite you for the clarity code. Okay, so feel into this, see where it began, and if you can do this for every little thing that happened in your life, wherein you know that there is a pattern but you don't know what is the root cause of it, you can go identify the root cause of it. Because the next step after identifying the root cause is what to do with it, how are you going to work with it.
Right. So, which means you don't rewrite these codes
Yeah.
through just willpower or positive affirmations alone. You rewrite them through honest recognition. That is the foremost part, and new emotional experience.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
clarity doesn't, or clarity actually dissolves the trance that you are in. What I mean by this trance is that loop, okay? So when you meet an old feeling with presence instead of avoiding it, so we all are amazing at avoiding things because we don't know what to do with it, to be very
Yeah.
frank, right? So instead of avoiding it, if you can just be present with it, not find a solution immediately, no, what happens is that your nervous system will now get an update. Ki, okay, I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with what happened once. I might not understand jack shit about why it happened to me, but I'm comfortable that it happened to me. I'm comfortable to look that incident in the eye and say, okay, I went through this. That instance of you telling that, yes, I went through this, I'm comfortable with this, is going to tell your nervous system, that is like a signal to your nervous system which says that it happened, I survived, I'm safe now.
So, guys, in the next episode, we'll go exactly into how we create those new emotional experiences and how to feel differently on purpose without bypassing or forcing anything in between.
Yeah, and that brings us to the end of this episode, you all. I want to thank all of you who watched, who experienced, who felt, and I want to thank all of you who showed up for this kind of a tender work. So we will meet you in episode 6. Until then, be reasonably kind to the parts of you that are still running the old scripts or the old codes. Okay, they did their best to keep you safe. So, with that, we'll let you go, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.